Hi everyone out there. My name is Pedro Santos and I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for e-commerce at Akamai Technologies. Today, as part of this webinar, what we wanted to do is talk about what it takes to internationalize e-commerce websites. And more importantly, how companies are preparing their sites, their infrastructure, and their businesses for international e-commerce success. We have 4 distinguished guests with a tremendous amount of experience on internationalization to help us get started and help talk about some of the issues relative to internationalizing their e-commerce sites. Starting here to my left is Jay Bassnight. Jay is with the Puma Corporation, and he's the head of digital strategy for Puma. Right next to me here is Chris Green. Chris Green works for a company called 51 that helps out tremendously with internationalization efforts, and Chris will talk about that quite a bit. Chris is the Chief Strategy Officer and EVP of Sales for 51. Just to my right is Kelly Sheridan. Kelly handles the digital strategy for Burton Snowboards and has been instrumental in putting together the e-commerce efforts for Burton. And to my far right is Simon Wallace. Simon is the Executive Director of E-commerce Systems at Estee Lauder.
We've really been able to improve our performance, dramatically, where the consumer experience is industry best standard.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
Yep.
That's great. And so I think another question there. You talked a little bit about compliance, but what jumped to my mind is security. And I know it's an area we haven't talked about, per se. But maybe I'll start with Kelly. How did you guys think about security when it came to rolling out sort of your e-commerce site globally?
Well, again, we're just starting to move into a process of doing e-commerce via our platform. We use third-party applications that integrate into our site at the moment. So a lot of the data that's being captured from a commerce perspective isn't sitting in our environments. And the same even with the platform we're using here in the US. A lot of that data does not come back in from a credit card perspective and other areas of theft. So that's been a benefit to us because we don't have the same PCI compliance that perhaps organizations that have to capture that data do.
Good, good. That's helpful. And Jay, what about at Puma? How do you think about sort of, global security of data and of your e-commerce assets as you looked at doing more internationalization?
We actually try to avoid it on an international level as much as possible, and by that I mean we've kind of split the responsibilities of the commercial and the marketing aspects of a site. That the commerce pieces can be locally managed and have security based on the local enforcement or laws. And the global site will actually just be the clearinghouse for providing traffic to those local markets. So we, on a global level, would never even have an opportunity to get to a point where we're storing credit cards. And even the way we store customer information at all can be flexible depending on where it's coming from.
Great. That's great. So you've heard it from the experts. I think there's a tremendous amount that we talked about. I think there was a large focus on consumer experience. I think one of the things that I heard that was sort of an overwhelming theme is make sure you understand the local markets that you're going to get into, and make sure you understand who the right partners are to get you started, right? Because there are a lot of technology companies out there that can help in terms of getting started with some of these efforts. That concludes our internationalization webinar for today. We're now actually going to move on to the question and answer section of this webinar.